everyone. My name is Nikki Fioravanti. I am an Associate Director of Programs at the Kinney Center for Autism Education and Support. For those of you who are just tuning in to Kinney Goes Virtual for the first time, welcome. And those who have tuned in, welcome back. I hope that you are staying safe and sane during this time of quarantine. I know we've been inside for a few weeks now, and while there are some great benefits of family interaction, I definitely know that it can be difficult spending a lot of time with your family as well. So we hope that these videos are a quick escape that are teaching you some things about applied behavior analysis and just entertaining you guys at home and giving you guys something to look forward to each day. So today we're going to talk about a parent training. So we're going to discuss different treatment plans. So what is a treatment plan? We hear this term a lot from different professionals in IEP meetings. I'm sure teachers and behavior analysts have said these words to you, and it can be confusing. So a treatment plan starts with a functional behavior assessment, also known as an FBA. So an FBA is a process that collects information in order to gain further information and understanding of why an individual is engaging in a behavior. Typically, this is for problematic behaviors or target behaviors, as they're also known. So an FBA has two different parts. There are indirect data collection and direct data collection. If your child or the individual you take care of has had a FBA completed, I'm sure you have been handed a survey or a big stack of papers from the behavior analyst asking you to fill out all of these questions about when the behavior happens, what's happening before, after, just gaining a lot of information. And the purpose of these indirect assessments is because individuals are engaging in different behaviors in different settings. So an individual may engage in behaviors, different behaviors at school, at home, or at the Kinney Center. I know the behaviors that I engage in at work are very different from the behaviors I would engage in at my parents' house versus my house, where I sleep and I'm a little bit messier. So that indirect data is just collecting more information in regard to why the behavior is happening at home. And the direct data is the behavior analyst job is to go in and observe and take notes on what is happening before a behavior occurs and then again after a behavior occurs. So what is the maintaining consequence, or what is reinforcing that behavior? And both of these indirect and direct data are critical when a behavior analyst is going in to understand that behavior because it gives more of a whole picture. So we are able to understand not only why the individual is engaging in that behavior at Kinney, but what that behavior might look like at home, which, like I said before, could be two different things. So in this functional behavior assessment, we are typically looking at problematic behaviors and identifying the function of the behavior. So what is a function of behavior? The functions of behavior are the reason why a behavior is occurring. So all living creatures, humans, animals, everyone alike, there are 4 reasons individuals engage in behavior. That is for attention, which is trying to gain attention. Think about when if you have a child that is coming up and saying, "Mom, Mom, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, Mom, I'm hungry." They might just want your attention, or they might want access to a treat. When you're in quarantine, I don't know about you, but I know for me personally, every time I eat, I'm not really that hungry. It's more for just fun. And then escape. An individual might try to engage in a behavior to escape a different activity. So imagine a situation where you tell your child, "Oh, it's time to clean up your toys," and they might start kicking or screaming, and then you're like, "Fine, just go." They engage in those behaviors and they escaped that original demand of you asking them to pick up their toys. And then there's a function of access. So they are trying to get access to something. So for this situation, it may be that they want access to a toy that you hid in a different room that's locked, and they might start engaging in behaviors to get access to that toy. So they might start like hitting at the door, trying to open that door. They're trying to do that to access. And then automatic reinforcement, this is my favorite one. It just feels good. I know for me, I twirl my hair without thinking about it because it's really relaxing, especially when I'm sitting on different meetings. So any behavior that just really feels good. And then a behavior intervention plan is developed. So a behavior intervention plan looks at the direct data and the indirect data that comes up with the function of the behavior. And then the behavior analyst will come up with proactive and reactive strategies to teach positive replacement behaviors and decrease those problematic or target behaviors. So how should treatment plans be built? They should definitely be built with the parent or caretaker's help. So parent buy-in is key. I'm not sure if you've heard this word before, but as a behavior analyst, parent buy-in is essential. So parent buy-in is basically the parent is in agreement with the plan. They like it. They want to engage. They want to utilize this plan at home across all different settings. So as the parent or caretaker, you play a critical part in saying if that's the problematic behavior, what those replacement behaviors should look like, what you want to teach, and what behaviors you want to decrease. So you really need to work with your behavior analyst when you're developing a treatment plan, to help develop a plan that works not only for the behavior analyst and the teacher and those settings, but works with you and your family at home, so those skills can generalize. And like I just said, in order for treatment plans to be effective, they need to be able to generalize. They need to be utilized across all settings and people. So in times where they go to school, if they are at school all day, or if they come to the kidney center all day, the treatment plan might work at the kidney center. And then at home, where it's more relaxed, it might not be as effective. They may be still engaging in those problem behaviors. And that is because they know their expectation that it is at kidney or at school, that treatment plan is what they're following, but at home it might be more lenient. So right now, being at home, this is a great time to implement those treatment plans. This can make this transition easier and assist in behavior change across all settings. I know at the kidney center, when ever a functional behavior assessment and behavior intervention plan is written, we will have a parent training meeting where we share the documentation and we train the parents. And then also before that, we gain the parents' input to make sure that they're on board, that we have that parent buy-in. So before we come up with a finalized product that we send home to families, we make sure that parent buy-in is there so that this can be utilized not just at kidney or not just at school, but we can utilize this across all settings to make sure that behavior change is occurring and generalized. So proactive strategies. I know all of these ABA terms can be really confusing, but proactive strategies are simply those strategies utilized to teach appropriate behavior before an individual even engages in a problematic or target behavior. So these are strategies that you want to utilize throughout the entire day. And then some common proactive strategies that you might see on different treatment plans are schedules. I know for me, I stick to Google Calendar like it is my life. I need that structure to keep me on task. Timers. I know that a lot of people like to utilize timers just so you know how much longer that you have to engage in this activity. Self-monitoring, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. Reinforcement. If your kid or the individual that you're taking care of is doing something positive, make sure that you are reinforcing them. Like, hey, great job sitting quietly during my last meeting. I know it's really hard and that you really wanted to talk, but you did a great job staying quiet. And then providing choices. Choices are critical, especially when a lot of our life we don't have control over right now. We are stuck inside. You want to give your child choices. Do you want to do a go noodle video, or do you want to go outside and ride your bike? Giving them different options of activities they can do instead of sticking to one thing. And this is giving them that independence to be able to pick what their schedule looks like. Social stories. I'm sure you've heard this many of times, and I'm sure you've seen lots of different social stories on Pinterest and on the internet popping up for this quarantine. Modeling. So modeling is you are showing them what the behavior should be. If your child is having a difficult time washing their hands, you want to show them how they should be washing their hands and then giving them the opportunity to do so. Built-in breaks. Breaks are critical for everyone. I know for me, typically every 45 minutes, I give myself a quick few minutes that I just like regroup and reassess, maybe check my phone before I go back to the next activity. Task modification. So tasks are typically really hard. If your child has homework that they are doing their schoolwork at home right now, maybe instead of saying like do this entire math sheet, let's say do the first 5 problems on the math sheet and then we can go back to it later. Visual cues. So these are different visuals that you can put around the house to remind the child of what is expected. And environmental modifications. This is maybe that your child is doing homework. I don't know about you, but what you don't see right now is this table behind me is a total mess. There's stuff everywhere. If I was a little kid and I was bored and I didn't want to do work, I probably would be distracted by all of the little different things and knickknacks I could get into. I know my sister is just starting cross stitching, so there's little cross stitching here that I would love to play with instead of doing my work. So maybe when you're doing that schoolwork, instead of you want to like clear the environment and make sure that they are able to focus on that one task. So reactive strategies. These are strategies that are utilized to respond to inappropriate behavior or those maladaptive, problematic target behaviors. You know, in ABA, we love to utilize different terms all of the time. So whatever the problem behavior is identified, the reactive strategies are what we do following that behavior. So the common reactive strategies you might see in your treatment plans is planned ignoring, providing choices, prompting, redirection, and reinforcement. So that planned ignoring, especially if your kiddo is interrupting during your Zoom conferences with your boss, and they're trying to get your attention, you want to just simply ignore their behavior. And I know it's really hard, especially when they get they might get louder and scream higher and higher. But once you reinforce that and you say like, what do you want? It's further reinforcing that behavior and they're going to come and do it again. Providing choices. So maybe your kiddo is having a really tough time during math, but that was what was on their schedule. It's okay to be flexible and say like, hey, I know that like this is really difficult. Why don't do you want to do this or this for now? And give them like a little break because we all need breaks. Prompting, that is just assisting them through different activities at different levels of what they need. Redirection, sometimes we all just need to be redirected. Oh, like we're not playing we're not playing with your sister's cross-stitching stuff later now. Like, let's go back to doing homework. Sometimes we just need that little reminder to what we are supposed to be doing. And then reinforcement. Like I said before, it is critical every time you see a positive behavior, you want to reinforce it and make sure that you're letting your kiddo know, hey, you're doing a great job. I know it's really challenging right now, but you're doing really great. So the importance of treatment plans. Why do we have to use these at home? Why do we have to use these? Aren't they good for school? But consistency is key. So we need it to be our individuals, they get really used to their treatment plans. I know some of the kiddos that come to the Kinney Center, to the programs I oversee, they know exactly what their behavior intervention plan is. But then more importantly, they know their schedules of reinforcement. They know when they are going to get access to a reward. Expectations. So the expectations have to be clear. So I know this is really challenging because what's expected of them at school or at the Kinney Center is very different than what home usually looks like. And I know like for me personally, I've been struggling that I have been working 2 feet from my bed. And it's really easy to just be like, maybe I should go back to sleep. But keeping those expectations clear, like from 9 to 3, this is what we're doing, these are the rules. And then from 3 o'clock on, like maybe these are the rules. But keeping those clear expectations for them. Language. Language is critical because our individuals get so used to what the language and what we say. So you might say something such as quiet hands or safe hands. These different languages, whatever is utilized normally, is what your child has learned. So it's really important to keep that consistency in that language and routine. It really is hard for our kiddos who were having structured school days from 9 to 3 every day, and now their routine is totally thrown off. So doing those treatment plans can keep them on routine in this time of uncertainty. So I know I talked about a little bit before about self-monitoring. So self-monitoring is also key. I utilize this for myself all the time. So self-monitoring is having individuals monitor and keep track of their own behavior. This can be positive behaviors or problematic behaviors. So this assists in providing reinforcement for your own appropriate behaviors. So for me, I am totally obsessed with coffee. I drink it all day, every day, as much as I can. I always have my first cup, my first 2 cups are in the morning, and then I have my 3rd cup at 3 p.m. But I will monitor my behavior throughout the day, and I do not make my 3 o'clock coffee until unless I've stayed on track with my schedule, I've completed all my tasks, and then I can have my coffee. So for me, I came up with a little self-monitoring system for myself, and I'm going to include this in the video. So if you want to adapt it to yourself, feel free. So for me, from 8 to 8:30, if I stayed off my phone, I completed all of my tasks. I accepted schedule changes. I listened to my parents. So I have been living under my parents' roof for the first time in a very long time for the last 5 weeks. So I do have to listen to my parents again, and utilize coping strategies as needed. So sometimes when you're inside and you're working, you just go a little crazy and it's really hard. So if I did all of those activities, I can give myself a point. And then at the end of the day, well, for me, I took this at lunchtime. So from 11:30 to 12, if I earned enough points, so my goal was 6 out of 7 points, then I will give myself a treat with lunch. So maybe I'll have an Oreo or a piece of candy, something that is reinforcing for my behavior of staying on task and staying off of my phone and just sticking to my schedule. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video was helpful, and I miss seeing you guys at the Kinney Center. I can't wait to tune in again, and I hope you guys stay safe and healthy during this time. Take care.